What if events went differently in Spider-Man No Way Home? What if Green Goblin had successfully killed Tom Hollands Peter Parker in the final act of No Way Home? How could this impact the timeline as a whole? With Spider-Man No Way Home being out for over 3 weeks, I've been getting many requests to do Marvel's What Ifs on No Way Home. That being said, let's dive right into the first video of 2022. The events of the Statue of Liberty are playing out the same as in our original MCU timeline, with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man curing Flint Marko, and in contrast, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man has cured the Lizard. After successfully curing the villains, they looked from above, seeing giant arms move. It is revealed to be none other than Doc Ock with Electro. Otto grabs both Peters while putting them down. He betrays Electro by launching the cure into his chest with his mechanical arm. All three Peter Parkers are shocked to see what has unfolded as Strange comes back after being trapped in the mirror dimension. Realizing that Peter's plan to cure the villains are almost done, a laugh echoes in the distance. It catches everyone off guard, like our original universe. Green Goblin returns, grabbing the box from Strange. In contrast, Otto and Strange try holding Goblin, and Strange successfully grabs the magical box out of Goblin's hands, but a pumpkin bomb was planted in it, blowing up parts of the Statue of Liberty. While Mary Jane falls, Andrew's Spider-Man can think fast by grabbing her just in time. Green Goblin flings Tom Holland's Peter, but manages to smash parts of the glider using his hidden pumpkin bombs. But our original new timeline changes here. While trying to save MJ, Green Goblin grabs Peter by his neck, managing to throw him down near the Captain America shield debris at the edge of the water. This gives Norman the advantage as he has the complete higher ground, and with Norman keeping his glider this time, the fight completely changes. Tom's Peter tries using his webs to catch his fall, but is saved in time by Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. Both Peters look up as Norman is just hovering over the two of them, laughing. Norman explains that Peter was the one who killed May, challenging Peter to fight him. Maguire's Spider-Man yells no, but Tom's Peter, filled with rage, leaps in the air, but Green Goblin surprises Peter by summoning a hidden blade in his wrist, stabbing Peter in the heart. Norman laughs, taking Peter's body, stabbing it further into him, while Andrew's Spider-Man looks in the distance. He swings to surprise attack Green Goblin with the Goblin Cure in his hands from behind, while Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man lunges at him. Norman flies in the air with Tom's Peter, Maguire and Garfield smash into each other, while Norman tells Tobey's Spider-Man that he should have killed him in his universe when he had the chance, and now they will all die. Norman throws Peter's body into the river, while Andrew's Peter Parker saves Tom's Peter. Andrew's Peter places his hands over the dead Parker's neck, looking for any indication that he is alive. Maguire's voice echoes, asking the question if he's gone. Andrew's Peter nods his head with tears in his eyes, saying that Spider-Man has died. The multiverse fabric starts to break, with the other villains trying to get through the portal. Green Goblin watches in horror as different versions of himself start coming out of the portal. Becoming distracted, Maguire's Spider-Man lands a punch, knocking Green Goblin off of his glider, while Andrew's Peter holds Tom's cold body in the water. MJ and Ned find their way back to the platform after clearing the debris. MJ falls to her knees, crying, running to Peter. Ned has no words but can only look in horror at what has transpired. Mary Jane and Ned comfort Peter, while Andrew's Peter puts his mask on in anger. Feeling loss and pain once again, Andrew's Peter loses it. Andrew's Peter uses his webs to pull the glider away from Norman, while Maguire's Spider-Man uses his webs on Norman's chest, hitting him onto the shield. Green Goblin tries crawling to get to his feet, but Andrew's Peter picks him up and Green Goblin laughs in his face, saying it's God's work. He wants us to smite our enemies so we don't repeat our mistakes. He wants us to kill you, Peter Parker. As Andrew's Peter is about to give the final blow to Green Goblin, other villains from the multiverse try breaking through. Maguire's Peter tells Andrew's Spider-Man not to kill him, it wouldn't make it any better. Both Spider-Man feel something is wrong, and Green Goblin's glider is pointed to Andrew's Spider-Man, but in time, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man webs the glider. He takes it, smashing it into the shield, while Andrew's Peter cries, knocking out Green Goblin. Maguire's Peter takes the cure, injecting it into him. Both Peters look from above, Hearing Doctor Strange screaming for help, Maguire's Peter asks Andrew to stay with MJ and Ned, and he and Strange will deal with this. Andrew disagrees, but follows his orders. Maguire's Spider-Man puts his mask back on, asking what do they need to do now. Strange reveals that there is not much they can do with this version of Peter Parker dead now. He could use a spell that might be able to reverse everyone from knowing Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but the problem is that they are already leaking into the universe. Villains are leaking out into this reality. Maguire's Spider-Man watches in horror, seeing villains such as Venom, Carnage, Kraven, Mysterio, Rhino, Shocker, and many more. Otto drops down and considers the unfolding chaos. Electro, Sandman, and Dr. Connor's watch. They ask, what can we do? Maguire's Spider-Man asks Otto for help as he can't defeat these villains by himself. With the multiverse breaking apart and the box destroyed by Green Goblin, they lost. Maguire's Spider-Man looks below as many more villains come through the portal. Daily Bugle helicopters roar through the air, catching the footage of the multiverse breaking, casting it across the world. As Eddie Brock was debating about talking with this world's Spider-Man, he saw a breaking news story appearing on the screen showing alternate versions of Venom fighting against Spider-Man. The symbiote reacts in such a weird way, but notices Carnage on the screen. The symbiote explains that they should go help, but what confused the symbiote is that there are two versions of Spider-Man fighting against the villains. Maguire's Spider-Man sacrifices himself, saying that his responsibility is to send everyone home. It's what this world's Peter Parker would have wanted and what Aunt May fought for. Knowing this, Maguire's Peter tells Strange to cast a spell that would reverse every known person to ever know Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Now that the multiverse is open, this would affect not only this universe, but Maguire's and Andrew's universes too. Andrew's Spider-Man brings Ned and MJ to safety as the multiverse leaks into the MCU universe. Strange nods his head as both Spider-Man and Otto Octavius charge the first few villains entering the portal. Maguire's Spider-Man sees a version of Venom and another villain he's never seen before. Asking them to go home, Andrew's Spider-Man kicks Carnage but is caught off guard, while tendrils throw him into Maguire's Spider-Man. Andrew's Peter crawls up saying that he doesn't want to fight any more aliens now, and both Spider-Man try their best but become overrun by Carnage, Venom, Scorpion, and even Kraven. Otto takes on Kraven, quickly choking him out with his tentacles while throwing Kraven's body into Scorpion, giving Andrew's Peter an opening to kick him back through the multiverse rip. Andrew uses his webs to secure the portal, trying to hold it so other villains don't leak into the universe, while Otto decides to help him by using his arms to shield the portal from incoming villain attacks. At the same time, Maguire's Spider-Man is having a difficult time fighting both Venom and Carnage. Carnage takes Spider-Man, throwing him to the ground. Still, before he could do anything, something launches at his eyes. Carnage and a Venom variant are shocked to see another version of Venom. Tom Hardy's Venom extends a hand out to the exhausted Spider-Man. Maguire's Peter takes his hand as the two web up Carnage and the other Venom. Maguire's Spider-Man swings towards the ripped portal, kicking Carnage into it, while the other Venom variant asks why the symbiote isn't helping him. But before Tom Hardy's Venom could say anything, Maguire's Peter webs his legs, connecting it to the portal, throwing him back in. Maguire's Peter looks at Andrew's Peter and Otto, trying to hold off more villains. Tom Hardy's Venom speaks to Maguire's Peter, telling him he knows what he did to his world's symbiote and he can't forgive him for that. He was debating on if he should become a hero, but after remembering what he did, Peter would only betray Venom. Venom starts walking towards him while Maguire's Spider-Man yells, saying that they have another problem. Maguire's Spider-Man looks in the distance, seeing Green Goblin's broken glider, and front flips over Venom, landing it. He uses his hand to take out a pumpkin bomb, and Venom screams, lunging at Maguire's Spider-Man. But in time, Maguire's Peter detonates it in front of Venom, blowing him up, buying Andrew Garfield's Peter and Otto more time. Tom Hardy's Venom launches towards the portal, while Maguire's Spider-Man makes the ultimate sacrifice. Andrew's Peter says no, but Maguire's Spider-Man kicks Venom into the portal, while Andrew in time grabs Maguire's Peter, just using his webs. As the portal are starting to shut down, the Spider-Man use their webs to try and pull reality back together. Strange uses the spell to forget everyone is Spider-Man, screaming, He finishes the spell as reality starts to place back together slowly. All the villains from each universe start disappearing while Maguire's Peter and Andrew's Spider-Man run towards the fallen Spider-Man. Both are sad that they couldn't save him. Strange hovers to the side of the destroyed Statue of Liberty, saying he's about to finish the spell. The two Spider-Man put their heads down as they slowly fade away. Strange ends the spell, fixing everything. There is a Daily Bugle broadcast saying that Spider-Man has gone missing over the course of 24 hours. Peter Parker with his Aunt May have been killed in a fire at Feast, and the heroes of the MCU never learn of Peter being Spider-Man. This includes Strange as well. Ned and MJ don't know who Peter Parker is because of the spell, so none of his friends show up to the funeral, other than a few selected people. The world confirms Spider-Man could have died or given up, and it would turn out to be a mystery. So that is going to be it for this dark Marvel's What If on Spider-Man No Way Home. If you enjoyed this first 2022 Spider-Man fan fiction, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn your notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content, because there's going to be a ton of new content on this channel. It's going to be absolutely insane. I'm changing my style. I'm making things way better. There's so many projects coming out on this channel, so if you're not subscribed, do the right thing and subscribe now, because things are going to be crazy, and I can't wait to show you what other fan fictions I have in store, as well as a couple other projects. But anyways, as always guys, thank you for tuning in, and have a fantastic day.